Hello everyone, it's Julie Hutchison here from Think Be Do Leadership, and today we are talking about the problem with the team that's going in the wrong direction or has got the wrong idea, who have lost their purpose, or you think they have anyway. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because yesterday, over the weekend, my son was doing his Duke of Edinburgh Expedition Award, his Bronze Award, and they had to traipse around somewhere around Marlborough, I don't know where it was, for the whole weekend on their own as a team, and to get from one place to another, camp overnight. Easy, you might think, but not for those boys, I'm sure. And there were a number of teams that were doing the same thing. And when my son Alex came home, I said, how did you get on? Did you have a nice time? Careful not to say, did you come first? As much as I am a little bit competitive. But anyway, he had a wonderful time. And he said to me, though, he said, well, we came second. I said, oh, that's really good. Wonderful. Well done for you. He said, yeah, but the team that came first cheated. And I said, why? What did they do? And he said, well, they missed 2 checkpoints. They saw they saw the glory of being at the finish point, which was down a hill and up again, and they went along the ridge instead. So they didn't go down, they didn't check out the checkpoints. And you might think, Julie, what has this got to do with what you're talking about today? But I think it does, because one, my son was like, well, they cheated because they didn't do it. And the I was going to say teacher, what's the word, person that was looking after him, agreed, obviously, because they didn't do the task. They didn't do it because in their mind, what was more important to them was to get to the finish, to get where they wanted to go, and to get there as fast as possible, and to win, in their eyes, to beat everybody else. But what they did, and they failed to achieve, really, I suppose, is that they didn't actually do the task. They didn't enjoy the journey, by the way, should do that too, but they didn't do what was asked of them in order to get to the end. So they focused on the wrong thing. They focused on the competitiveness of doing the job. And in order to win in their eyes, or to get there as quick as they possibly could, they cut corners. Now, I don't know about you, but if you have a business, or you are in a business, and you see people cutting corners, then you know we're all doomed. Because it's when that happens, when we start to cut corners and think we're being clever, and start to miss out the things that are probably super important, that we lose sight of because we are perhaps a little bit more competitive. We're looking at others and we're trying to beat them, or we're trying to do things cheaper or faster, or whatever it might be. When the team does that and they fail to look at what's the real purpose of doing what we're meant to be doing, that's when we end up with an outcome, but we don't end up with the right outcome. Yeah, we might be fastest off the production line, but we might not be up to the quality that we need. So we're going to fail in the long run because we're not making what we need to make. We're making something, but it's not what it needs to be. So it's a short-term thinking of, oh, I want to beat the clock, or I want to beat somebody else, or I just want to look cool. Then that means that we're going to fail as a team. And so the problem with that is that people are not focusing on the most important part, which is what is it that we're trying to achieve and why are we trying to achieve it? And I'm often talking about boats in this. By the way, if you're listening to this live, say hello, please. It would be really nice to know you're there. And if you're listening on replay, just put #replay in any comments. Love to know you're here. Give me some love. Otherwise, I feel like I'm talking to an empty room, which is my empty room, but obviously on here. So where were we? I forgot where we were. Yeah. So if you are not focusing on the original purpose and the reason why you had that purpose, what's really easy to happen when you're in a team is to forget. You know what you're good at, and you know what's going on. But if you're not looking at, like, this is why we're doing this, and this is what we're doing, and this is the reason why we're here, then it's very easy to lose sight of taking a little bit off here and shaving a little bit off there, or doing this a little bit differently if you're not asking about, is the boat going faster? So why do I talk about boats? Well, exactly that. If you imagine that your purpose is a boat, and I've got in my mind a Viking boat, and every single one of that team member, so my son Alex's team, they were all like, not that they were on the river, but they were, all rowing and putting their oar in the same direction, in the same rhythm, in the same pattern, and they're going in the same place, and they know where they're going. So every day when they show up on that thing, they know Is what I'm going to do make the boat go faster? And so in your team, if you can ask that question, does what I'm doing now make the boat go faster? Then it's really easy to answer that question of, should I cut that corner or should I? But does it make the boat go faster in the direction that it's supposed to be going towards the outcome that I want it to take? Yeah. Not just does it go faster in any direction. And so, well, what is it that makes us do that then? Because if we as an individual, we knew what the outcome was at the start, but suddenly this team seems to have gone off track, we veered off doing something completely different, then why does that happen? So let's have a look. Well, first of all, we're going too fast. When we go so fast, then we're trying to take speed over everything else. Then we're going to have to cut corners because we've got this one focus of speed. Now, that might be part of an order or a thing that you need to do, but it's not speed at the cost of the quality that you're producing. So when people are going too fast, then yeah, of course, they're going to come off track. Yeah, it's like the train's going to come off the track. They're going too hard. Yeah, so they're working so hard that they're going to get burnt out. And then they're going to start losing people. So somebody's going to be not putting their rowing. They're not rowing because they're not rowing at all. They're absolutely exhausted. So they go too hard in one direction and they're not taking account of the team. And then there's the other ones that go in the wrong direction. Now, this, I remember when I first left university, I remember when I went to work for British Bakeries, who made Hovis, and we were on their graduate program, and we got given a task, and all the ones a bit like me, was like, "Come on, let's go, let's move now." We read half the document and then started to move. All the ones that are super like keen on moving, and then the other ones are sitting there saying, "Oh, don't! This is fraught with danger. Let's read the document a bit more." So the people that want to go and they want to go now and they want to go as fast as they possibly can, or they want to go so hard, it's like, hold on a second, you're going to go in the wrong direction because you haven't read the document or you haven't checked out the rules or whatever it might be. So it's another reason why the team is going to come off the track. They're not looking at what's the purpose. They just want to get on with it. And then there's the wrong outcome. They haven't even looked at the purpose. They just think, oh, we're going to make widgets, whatever it might be. And they just carry on and that's it. So no good. And then the last one, which is my pet hate, which is a win-lose attitude, which is we want to win and not help anybody else and not with anybody else, but at the expense of everybody else, because we're going to create, instead of a win-win, we're going to create a win-lose. And it's short-term thinking, because if you're going too fast, too hard, in the wrong direction for the wrong outcome, and you're trying to beat everybody else over the head, yeah, in the long term, that isn't going to work. Yeah, you're either going to get in the wrong place, you're going to have produced the wrong thing, and you're going to have no mates when you get there. And even in business, you want to be liked. Look at Brewdog last week. They got where they want to get to, but at the expense of a whole lot of other people. So what I'm saying is that you need to think about what is the real purpose and make sure that everybody is signed up to that, and everybody that really wants to agree to that. And there isn't somebody sitting there saying, oh, I wish I didn't have to do that. So first of all, get the purpose right. Make sure that you know that this is what we're trying to achieve here. And it's not just about being a good, engineer. It's not just good being a good accountant. It's like, what's the purpose of the team as a group of people? What are we trying to achieve? The next one is ego. And I think this is why we go a bit too fast in the wrong direction and too hard, because we sometimes run bigger egos than we ought to when we're in part of a team. So there's one person or two people that are running it and they're pushing other people, or want to be the big I am, and other people get left behind. And so the true thoughts of the team don't come out, because those that are squashed down by everybody else's egos end up backing out and not trying, or just get on with it despite the other people. So ego, and those with the biggest ones, need to be heard the most. They need to say what they say without being contradicted. And that means that it can even end up in a bullying situation, or it can end up in a very uncomfortable situation where those that don't have that big ego just don't say anything, so are not really part of the team. And so the team falls apart. I was listening to that huge case, and I can't think of the name of the company down in Basingstoke, that just got the most mammoth payout for one person who exactly that was bullied because of the egos of some of the leadership team. Really unuseful because I can't tell you who it is because I can't remember. But anyway, you can look that up. It seems in Basingstoke. And then, of course, there's this lack of respect of other people, because if you are too busy trying to win and put other people down, then you're going to lose the objectiveness. You're going to lose the genius of other people, and you're only going to focus on what you've got or what your mates have got and not utilize the whole group. Yeah, you're going to ignore some of the abilities and resources that you've got. So you aren't going to be as effective as you think you're going to be just because you picked your mates. And it's a bit like picking your mates at the sports team, isn't it? You pick them because you like them and everything else, but it doesn't mean you're missing out on the less popular kids. They might have a real genius in football, whatever, but they don't get picked. Yeah, so you've got to make sure that everybody gets a chance and you respect everybody for who they are. Excuse me. And then there's empathy. And the reason why that's important is because this too fast, too hard in the wrong direction often comes because of a lack of understanding of other people, because you think you're right and you're not listening to anybody else. And so having empathy for other people's opinions and other people and how they are means that you take more care and you make sure that the team is going to get where they get. And so the last thing on the list, strangely enough, the last thing is capability. Because the team not really getting where they want to get to is rarely because they didn't have the capability. Because as a team, they probably did have the capability. But all of this is really about understanding, what are we trying to achieve? How should we be doing it? Let's look at the strengths of the team and be empathetic and understanding and open and inclusive. And let's make sure that we all get there. And so capability, if you added all those strengths of all those people, more than likely, there will be capability in that team. It's not the biggest thing, except it's what we worry about. But reality is, if we go too fast, too hard, we end up going in the wrong direction. If we don't focus on the purpose, we cut the corners. Like my son's Duke of Edinburgh group, they thought they were winning. Well, not his group, but the other group. They thought they were winning, but they cut the corners, which meant that they cheated and they lost. So don't be a cheater. Don't lose the bigger picture just because you want to win that little game. If that's been useful to you, think about your teams in your business. If it's been useful to you, then let me know. If it's not been useful to you, then why are you still watching? I'm sure it has. And if you would like to find out more, then don't forget, we have a Facebook group with more of all of the videos and more conversations about leadership and about growing your team and growing you. And if you would like to find out about our Leaders Launchpad, which will help you and your upcoming team to grow as leaders, then do message me and we can get the details out to you, because we're starting our next cohort soon. So have a wonderful Monday. I will see you tomorrow. Enjoy the hot weather. Bye-bye.